But I'm getting all the way underneath there, and I'm getting to a point where I can't move and say, Chris, Chris, Chris! I'm yelling for her. And I told her to be right there. Stay. Don't go anywhere. I need you. And I crawled all the way back out, and she's nowhere to be found. I said, I could have been a rattlesnake underneath there. I could have died. And I'm looking all around, and there she is at the neighbor's house. Way over there. It's like, what? You left me. Oh, I just want to go talk to a neighbor. Okay. So you want to go to your house? No, I'm not going to your house getting anything. I have flashbacks. Now, all this to be said, he made this pledge. In verse 10, then the servant took 10 of his master's camels and departed. For all of his master's goods were in his hand, and he arose and went to Mesopotamia, the city of Nahor. Now he takes 10 camels, and he leaves. Now the 10 camels are loaded with goods and a dowry to give to the family of the wife, the young lady he's going to secure. That's a good dowry right there. I guess 10 camels carrying all of the merchandise would be good. And he made his camels kneel down outside the city by the well of water at evening time, at the time women go to draw water. So he loads up the camels, he goes, he gets all the way up there, he gets by the well. He knows that this is a place where all the women come in the evening and cool of the day. They get water for that evening, and it'll stay cool overnight, and then they have that water to use. So this is where they come. All the women come out at evening time. If I'm going to find a woman, this is where I'm going to find them, out at the well toward the evening time. So he gets there at the right time. He has these 10 camels. He's outside the well, and he just has the camels kneel outside the city, right by the well, and he's sitting there. And then he decides, you know what, this is a good time to pray. Now, we don't know that he's ever prayed before. We don't know. He's Abraham's servant, but I don't know if he has a relationship with the living God like Abraham has. But he knows that his master has a servant, living God. So look what he says. O Lord God of my master Abraham, please give me success this day and show kindness to my master Abraham. So he's praying, say, God, please don't let me mess this up. Please. Listen, I have never picked a wife for anyone before. And we don't even know if he's married. So we don't know if he picked a wife for himself yet. So we have no idea what's going on here, except he says, God, I need some help. I did this crazy thing. I took that oath. I came here to find a wife, to bring her back and not to bring him here. And you know all the details. But would you just help me? Because I don't know what I'm doing. I just need you to give me success. Let this go well for me, if you could. And just show kindness to Abraham. Listen, he's old, advanced in years. This is what he wants, and I pray you'd allow this to happen. He says, behold, I stand here by the well of water. The daughters of men of the city are coming out to draw water. So let it happen this way. The young woman who I'm saying, please let down your pitcher that I may drink. And she says, drink, and I will also give your camels a drink. Let her be the one you've appointed for your servant Isaac, and I will know that you've shown me kindness. Now, it's kind of a selfish prayer. I'm not going to lie to you. It really is. He says, listen, I'm here, God, and I need your help, and this is the best I got for you. All the young ladies are coming out. I don't know who to choose. I don't know who to approach. I don't want to be that stalker guy. I need your help, and here's the deal. The young lady that I approach, and I say, please let down your pitcher so I have a drink. And she says, okay. And if she says, I'll also give your camels a drink, let her be the one. Because I'm tired of watering her camels at home anyway. I don't know how that plays out. But I did some research on camels, and this is crazy. How many camels do they take? They can drink up to 30 gallons of water apiece if they're thirsty. That means a little girl with a 5-gallon bucket is going to get 300 gallons of water if they're thirsty. Now, they just came all this trip, and they probably are carrying stuff on their back. They might just be a tad bit thirsty. Even if it's 20 gallons each, that is a lot of water. See, those humps are filled up, it means they're full of water. If they're not, they need to be reinflated. That's just the way it is. So, this is kind of a selfish prayer. It is. I look at it. Does God answer selfish prayers sometimes? Come on, don't tell me you didn't ever pray a selfish prayer. All right, that's what I thought. Yep. So he prays this prayer and says, I will know if the woman I approach, if I ask her for a drink, she says yes, and if she waters my camels, she's the one. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. That's what we got. That's who I know. That's how it happens. Now, when you look at this, look at verse 15. This is kind of a key verse. This is an interesting verse. And I don't know if you've ever had this happen before. As it happened, before he was finished speaking, that means he's praying the prayer right now as he's talking to God. When he's asking for this prayer to be heard, Rebekah, who was born of Bethuel, son of Milcah, the wife of Nahor, Abraham's brother, came out with her pitcher on her shoulder. So he said, Dear Lord, please let this woman who I come to, and when I ask her for a drink, that she says, yes, have a drink, and she'll water my camel. Who is that? While he was praying that prayer, it says while he was still speaking, while he was praying that prayer, this young lady comes out with a water pitcher on her shoulder. Now, he just prayed the prayer. He said, I don't know how this prayer thing works. How many of you when you're brand new saved didn't know how the prayer thing worked? And you said these very sincere prayers, Dear Lord, it is me, the guy who used to be a sinner, who just met you last week over here. That's me. And we want to make sure, and sometimes you talk to God on very specific terms, and how does this prayer thing work? And I don't know, it doesn't always answer all our prayers anyway, so I don't even know how prayer all the way works anyway. I don't know which ones God's going to answer. I just know that if I want something real serious, I get kids to pray for it, because God listens to children. I say, hey kid, here's $20, are you going to pray for me? You know, whatever. Get a little kid to pray for you if you want something, because God listens to them. So it's okay. It's okay. They'll hear that prayer, and God at least gets some attention to you. Now, this woman comes out. He doesn't know the background that they're related. So the young woman in verse 16 was very beautiful, a virgin, no man had known her. She went down to the well, filled her pitcher, and came up. So while he's praying this prayer, this pretty young thing comes out with a pitcher on her shoulder, comes on the water, and he's got to be wondering, okay, I just asked God, this is pretty quick. I'm going to do this more often. You know, he probably increased his prayer life after this moment. If this is how it works all the time, that's what I do. How many of you like to pray go that fast? You pray and God's answers are. That would be okay. That would be okay. I think I could live with that. Now the servant ran up to meet her. Now that would startle her a little bit, but he ran to meet her and said, "Please let me drink water from your pitcher." And look at verse 18. So she said, "Drink, my Lord," and she quickly let down her pitcher to her hand and gave him a drink. I mean, he just asked, Lord, the woman I'll run up to and I meet and I ask her for a drink, and she says, drink. Okay, the first part of the prayer is okay. She says yes. She didn't say, get your own water, scallywag. She didn't say anything like that. She said yes, and she gave him a drink, so that's okay. So far, so good on that drink thing. And when she had finished giving him a drink, she said, I will draw water for your camels also until they have finished drinking. Wow. And was that exactly what he asked for, or what? Let this woman who I approach, when I ask her to drink, give me a drink, and she'll say, I'll water your camels too. I mean, that's exactly, almost word for word, what he prayed for. So she quickly ran, emptied her pitcher into a trough, ran back to the well to draw water, and drew for all of his camels. How many camels? 10. How much do they drink if they're thirsty? She was toting some water. So he had some time to contemplate this. He had time to think about this. And the man, look at verse 21, the man wondering at her remained silent as to know whether the Lord has made his journey prosperous or not. I don't know if he's the sharpest tool in the shed. But I'm just saying, if I give a very specific prayer request and it happens just the way I ask it, I'm pretty sure that God answered that. But he's there thinking, I wonder if she's the one. She's available. She's young. Too pretty for Isaac, but she's young. And she did give me a drink, and she offered to water camels. She just might be the one. What do you think? Ain't no one else to talk to. He's asking himself. I think that's hilarious. So he's sitting there, silent, whether this is an answer from the Lord or not. So it was, when the camels had finished drinking, that the man took hold of a golden nose ring. A nose ring, weighing half a shekel, and 2 bracelets for her wrists, 10 shekels of gold. So he brings out the bling. After she waters the camels, here it is. And I don't know if can I give you a nose ring? I don't know if that's acceptable. And I always wonder, people wear nose rings, and sometimes I ask ladies, and they wear them. And listen, they're attractive sometimes. Sometimes you're like, oh, but I just wonder, sometimes they sneeze. Achoo! Does that thing ever fly out? I just have to ask them, do I ever lose anything? You ever take out an eye with that? Because sometimes I don't know about nose rings. But it's biblical, so there it is. He gave her a nose ring weighing half a shekel, and then 2 bracelets weighing 10 shekels of gold. And then he asked this question. This is what we're going to focus on today, verse 23. Look at this question. Whose daughter are you? Tell me, please, is there room in your father's house for us to lodge? He doesn't know her. He asked for a drink of water, and then he asked this question, whose daughter are you? You know what that translates into? Who's your father? Who's your daddy? This is a question that a stranger is asking her, and no one is around. This is where it gets really, really personal, folks. Someone is coming up, and I promise you, someone is going to come to your children, each and every one of them, one time and ask this question, who's your father? They're going to be asked that question. I promise you, all my children have been asked that. What I'm asked a lot is, are you Ariel's dad? I get asked that a lot. It's like, no, she's my daughter. I'm not. Well, yes, I guess technically I am. But the question's going to happen. It's going to come. Someone is going to come to your children sooner or later. They're going to ask them, who's your father? Who's your daddy? That question is going to be asked. It's still being asked. They're going to want to know, whose child are you? Who's your father? And they are going to be asked that question. Now, this is where it gets personal, because we know what we want them to say. We know all the positive things that we hope they would say. Oh, my dad's the best, he's the greatest, my dad's this, my dad's that, and you want them to boast on you and brag on you and say all these wonderful things about you. But in this instance, when no one else is around and someone asks them and you're not there, what are they going to say about you? What do you think they're going to say? I don't think they're going to lie to somebody that asks them that question if you're not around. See, I've asked kids that question myself, and it's bothered me. Some of the answers that I got have shocked me. Now, I did youth work. I still work with children, and some occasions you would see the children come, and sometimes you see the mom come, and you'd wonder where the father is because he's not around. And listen, we struggle with fatherlessness in our society. It's no surprise to you. So when you ask someone this question and you want to know about their father, I remember this one little girl that came to our youth group. She came, she'd be dressed up every week, and she'd bring her little sister with her. She'd have her little sister by hand, and she would take care of her. Her mom would drop her off. She'd leave, and several hours later, she'd come back and pick her up. And just a gorgeous little girl and a little sister, and they just came, and they were just polite and respectful, glad to be at God's house. But I just had never seen the father, so I asked her one day, I said, tell me about your dad. She said, my dad? I said, yeah. And she called me Brother Joe. I said, Brother Joe? I don't know who my daddy is. My mama doesn't know who my daddy is. I was like, oh my goodness. There's this beautiful little girl and a little sister. And she has no idea who brought her into this world. It broke my heart. I wouldn't expect it. I wasn't preparing that answer. I asked a question, but she was very honest with me. And I tell you, when they ask your child that question, they're going to be very honest with you also. They're going to tell them the truth. They're going to say some things that, listen, you may not want to hear. They're going to say some things that may help you lose some sleep. if you've not been the father that they've needed you to be or wanted you to be.